Yes. Bismillah. Start where we're reading from.
هذا ذنبه حكم الإقامة قال يسوب الإمام يوجب على المؤتم السجود لتقرب السبب سبب النبي.
Right. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وسهو الإمام يوجب على المؤتم السجود لتقرر السبب الموجب في حق الأصل. And the mistake of the Imam right, then not only is a sajda sahu necessary upon the Imam, the sajda sahu is also necessary on a muqtadi, because the Imam is the asal, he's the engine that is driving the train. So whatever affects him affects the muqtadis as well, right? So wasahwul imami, and the mistake of the Imam, yujibu alal mu'atammi, it makes wajib on the muqtadi as-sujuda, a sajda as well. لِتَقَرُّرِ السَّبَبِ, because the sabab that is right, the sabab that makes sajda wajib, لِتَقَرُّرِ السَّبَبِ, because of the establishing of the sabab makes wajib fi haqqil asli, with regards to the original. Who's the original? The Imam is the original. He's the engine, so it was found in him, and the muqtadis are relying on him, they're hooked on him, they're following his salat. So naturally, it would follow that also it must be, it will be necessary also upon the muqtadis. Right, so the muqtadi can't say, no, I never make a mistake, so I won't have to make sajda. No, you're following the Imam. إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ. The muqtadi has been, the Imam has been made the Imam so that you must follow him. Right, carry on.
ولهذا يلزمه حق الإقامة بنية الإمام.
Yeah, like ولهذا, and for this reason also, يلزم حكم الإقامة بنية الإمام. If the Imam during his salah, he make intention he's going to become a muqim now in his salah, then his salah changes from a musafir salah to a muqim salah. His salah changes from a musafir salah to a muqim salah. So that shows you that the muqtadi will also have to follow, and the muqtadi will also have to do the muqim salah. So that shows you that you have to follow the Imam in everything, right? ولهذا يلزم حكم الإقامة بالمقيم, right?
فإن لم يسجد الإمام لم يسجد المؤتم.
Right. فإن لم يسجد الإمام لم يسجد المؤتم. If the muqtadi decided not to do the sajda, sorry, the Imam, whatever reason, he forgot or he didn't want to do it or whatever it is, can you look or take out your Quran, Rashid, take out your Quran and read your lesson, work, please? Yes, go over your work, right? And he decided not to do it, then the muqtadi can't say, oh, there's a problem with salah, the Imam is not making the sajda sahu, I'm going to make the sajda sahu. It's not valid, because it shows you that you can only do something behind the Imam. فإن لم يجد الإمام لم يجد المؤتم لأنه يصير مخالفا لإمامه, because he will be considered to be opposing, going against the Imam. Like I told you, إنما الإمام ليؤتم به, right? وما والتزم الأداء إلا متابعا, and he did not, when he started the salah, he made intention نويت الاقتداء بهذا الإمام. Ya Allah, I'm going to follow this Imam. نويت الاقتداء بهذا الإمام. I'm going to follow this Imam. So when you follow this Imam here, right, then you must follow him in everything. If you don't make the sajda, you can't make the sajda, and there will be also be a nuqs, there will be a problem in your salah also. Right? Carry on.
فإن سهل المؤتم لم يلزم الإمام ولا المؤتم السجود.
Right. فإن سهل المؤتم, if the muqtadi made a mistake, right? You spoke yesterday, you told me, you asked about this question, you asked that if in Eid namaz, the Imam made the takbirat, but the muqtadi was spinning, he didn't know what to do, and he never made the takbirat, what is the law? So فإن سهل المؤتم, if the muqtadi made a mistake, like here, answering your question, he didn't make the takbirat of Eid, فإن سهل المؤتم لم يلزم الإمامة, nothing becomes necessary upon the Imam. You can't say because the Imam, the Imam, the Muqtadi never make the takbirat of Eid. The Imam have to make sajda sahu. Lam yalzal al-imama wala al-mu'tamma sujudu. And nothing comes wajib on the Imam, and nothing becomes wajib upon the Muqtadi also. So that shows you that if the Muqtadi left out by mistake, and he was spinning, he didn't know what was happening, and he never make the takbirat of Eid, his what you call it will still be intact. Wala al-mu'tamma sujudu, right?
أنه لو سجد وحده كان مخالفا لإمامه.
Yeah, because if we say, okay, since the Muqtadi made a mistake, so you have to make sajda. We say he's making mukhalat of the Imam. And yet it's really, وَمَا الْتَزَمَ الْأَدَاءَ إِلَّا مُتَابِعًا. He did not take it upon himself except to follow the Imam. لأنه لو سجد وحده كان مخالف, right?
ولو تابعه الإمام ينقلب الأصل.
Yeah. وَلَوْ تَاب. And if the Imam had to follow him, if you know the Imam must make sajda also with him because he made a mistake. So now the whole thing is being reversed. What's the purpose of the Imam? The purpose of the Imam is that the Imam must, the Muqtadi must follow the Imam. The purpose is that the Muqtadi must follow the Imam. وَلَوْ تَابَ الْإِمَامُ يَنْقَلِبُ الْأَصْلُ تَابًا. So the Asl, who is the Imam, who is supposed to be followed, you will become a taba'. You become a follower now, which goes against the whole idea of an Imam. Read from there, Uthman. Right. Okay, before we go there, I don't explain this masala to you before. If a person, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, he's supposed to sit for the first tashahud, right? So now he forgot to sit, maybe whatever reason, he thought he's in the first rakat or he thought he's in the third rakat, whatever, and he began standing up. If he's still closer to the tashahud position, he must come down and make tashahud. But if he's closer to the standing position, then he must go ahead and abandon that tashahud. We must abandon that tashahud and he will make sajda sahu afterwards. And what is the reasoning? What is the rationale in this? The reasoning and the rationale in this here is this, that when you stand up, when you're closest to standing as though you are standing already, and when you are in the standing position, you've entered a farz. And once you started a farz, the tashahud is wajib. So why break? Why break or why compromise a farz for a wajib? Why compromise a farz for a wajib? You know what I'm saying? So you just go ahead and make tashahud. But yes, if you are closer to the tashahud position, then it's fine. And you come down and you make your tashahud and you make your tashahud, right? There's a reasoning. لأن ما يقرب من الشيء يأخذ حكمه. What is closer to something, it takes its a rule. So you are standing closer to standing, so you take the rule of standing. So as though you are in the standing position already, and if you are in the standing position already, that means that you have entered a farz already, and if you entered a farz already, then why break the farz to come down into a wajib, right? Carry on. Yeah. So it is said, so Maqil, it is said that even if you are closer to the sitting position, you never stand, you weren't closer to the standing position, you were closer to the sitting position, and then you sat. ثم قيل يسجد للسهو. It is said you make sajda للسهو. You make sajda sahwi للتأخير because you slightly delayed. Because you not, even though you never go to the closer to the standing position, but you are closer to the sitting position, right? But والأصح أنه لا يسجد كما إذا لم يقم. But the correct opinion is this is the surah where he wasn't closer to standing there. So the correct opinion is this here, that you don't have to make sajda as though you never stand at all. Because why you never go to the standing position? He was closer to the sitting position, right? ولو كان إلى القيام أقرب لم يعيد. But if he was closer to the standing position, then he'll stand up and he will proceed with his salah. He'll stand up and he will proceed with his salah, and then he will just make the sajda sahwi when it's finished, to compensate for the tashahud, right? Carry on. Right. ولو كان القيام أقرب لم يعد, right. لأنه كالقائم معنى, because even because he was closer to standing up, you say he's in the hukam of a standing person, right? And then here you will just make وَيَسْجُدُ لِلسَّهْوِ, you make such a sahwu for leaving out what? For leaving out the tashahud. لأنه ترك الواجب, he left out the wajib. So this here, all these laws here, it is applicable to the imam. It is applicable to you. You're reading your own farz namaz. It's applicable to a woman that is reading at home salat also. It's applicable to a man that is reading salat alone. Are you okay, Lukman? Sure. Fine. So it is applicable to anybody reading salah. It is not just only applicable to the muqtadi, because the muqtadi follows the imam, obviously, right? Okay, carry on. Right. So وإن سها عن القاعدة الأخيرة حتى قام الخامسة. Here's an interesting masla now, new masla. After the fourth rakat, what happened? He forgot, he thought this is the second rakat, and he stood up and he thought he got one rakat left, right? And in actual fact, he's going for the fifth rakat. What is he doing? He's going for the fifth rakat. وَإِن سَهَى عَنِ الْقَعْدَةِ الْأَخِيرَةِ. If he made a mistake, عَنِ الْقَعْدَةِ الْأَخِيرَةِ, from the last qada, حَتَّى قَامَ إِلَى الْخَامِسَةِ, and he stood up for the fifth rakat, رَجَعَ إِلَى الْقَعْدَةِ مَا لَمْ يَجُدْ. As long as he never makes sajda, they say he must come back and do the tashahud and finish his 4 rakats for namaz. You understood that? You got it, Yusuf? Right. وإن سهل القعدة الأخيرة حتى قام إلى الخامسة, until he stood up to the fifth rakat, رجع إلى القعدة, he returned to the qa'dah ما لم يسجد, as long as he did not make sajda. So he will just he never makes sajda for the fifth rakat yet. He was still in qiyam, or maybe he was even in ruku. He was in qiyam, or even was in the ruku. So he will return to the tashahud position. He'll finish the tashahud and he will make sajda sahu, and his farz namaz will be done, right? رجع إلى قعدتي ما لم يجد. Why? لأن فيه إصلاح صلاته. Because in this, لأن فيه, in this, what is this? By going back and to the tashahud of the fourth rakat, you are correcting your salah, right? وأمكنه ذلك, and it's very possible. It's not. There's nothing stopping him, preventing him. There's no reason to stop him to say, because the fifth rakat has not been completed as yet. The fifth rakat has not been completed as yet. So it's fine to go back, right? Yeah, because we won't say now, why are you telling him to leave the fifth rakat? He hasn't completed the fifth rakat. The fifth rakat is incomplete. What? The fifth rakat is incomplete. So to abandon something which is incomplete is no problem. Yes, if he made sajda of the fifth rakat, you say he completed the fifth rakat, now there's a problem, right? لأن ما دون ركعة بمحل رفض, because what is left lesser than one rakat, بمحل رفض, it is the position that you can break it. Why? Right? وقال, he said وألغى الخامسة, he will just nullify, make null and void the fifth rakat, right? لأنه رجع إلى شيء, because you're returning to something. You'll abandon that incomplete fifth rakat because you are returning to something. لأنه رجع إلى شيء محله قبله. You return to something which is, its place is before it. In other words, the tashahud is something which takes place before the fifth rakat. So you're returning to something which is supposed to be before the fifth rakat, because the tashahud is the fourth rakat, which is before the fifth rakat. لأنه رجع إلى شيء محله قبله. طيب فيفترض. So it is necessary for him now to return to that fourth rakat and do the sajda وسجد للسهو, and he will do the sujood sahwi لأنه أخر واجبا, because he has delayed a wajib. Why he's supposed to do the tashahhud and the salam immediately? But he delayed the fifth, delayed the shahud and the salam, so he has to go back, right? Yeah. So if he went as far as he made sajda for the fifth rakat, he made sajda, and only after making sajda for the fifth rakat, right? Now he realized, hey, I'm in the fifth rakat. وإن قيد الخامسة بسجدة بطل فرضه عندنا. According to us, we'll say that his farz namaz is batil, not the complete namaz. Only the farz namaz is batil. If he was reading for Zuhur or for Asr or for Isha, we say that this cannot take place as the farz namaz anymore. بطل فرضه خلافا للشافعي, contrary to Imam Shafi. Why? لأنه استحكم لأنه استحكم شروعه في النافلة. So they give the reason why they say that, listen nicely to this, why they say the person stood up after the fourth rakat, right? And he went to make the fifth rakat and he made sajjah for the fifth rakat. So what we don't say the salah is completely batil. What we say is that the farziyat of it is batil. Why? Because he never complete the farzas yet. Remember, it was farz for him to sit in tashahud in the fourth rakat. Am I right or wrong? Remember, Nabi Sallam said, إِذَا قُلْتَ هَذَا أَوْ فَعَلْتَ هَذَا فَقَدْ تَمَّتْ صَلَاتُكَ. If you say this or you do this, then your salat is complete, right? So, without completing the first namaz, in the middle of his first namaz, he went and he done a first rakat nafil. So, in essence, what you say is abandon the first namaz. He's abandoned the first namaz, and after abandoning the first namaz, he went into a nafal salat. So, because of that completing the first namaz, abandoning the first namaz, and going into a nafal namaz, we will say what? That now the farziyat has become batil because he's adversely affected the first namaz. لأنه استحكم شروعه, because he's solidified, he's galvanized, he's reaffirmed شروعه, he's starting في النافلة in a nafal namaz قبل إكمال أركان المكتوبة, before completing the arkan of the first namaz. And tashawwud is a rukn in the fourth rakat, right? So, وَمِنْ ضَرُورَتِهِ خُرُوجُ الْفَرْضِ. So this, from the necessity of uh, reading the fifth rakat or making sajjah for the fifth rakat, we will say خُرُوجُهُ, that he's come out of the first salah. Yes, comes out of the first salah and he went into a nafil salah. Hence we'll say that the farz has become batil. Carry on. ولأن وهذا لأن الركعة بسجدة واحدة صلاة. Because why will we say even if he made one sajda, he's come out of the farz and he's gone into nafil? Because remember, even a rakat with one sajda, وهذا this because لأن الركعة a rakat بسجدة واحدة, with one sajda, even though both sajdas are farz, even though both sajdas are farz, even though Sheikh, you can give them to use this instead of using this here. They can use that instead of using this. Right. So, because, right, even though we say both sujood are farz in salah, but technically speaking, a rakat with a sajda is a salah. It is a, even though it's an incomplete salah, but it's a salah, right? So لأن الركعة بسجدة واحدة, because a rakat with one sajda, salatun, it is a salah. حقيقة, in reality, it is a salah. حتى يحنث بها في يمينه. To such an extent, if a person took a qasam, he took a qasam, look here, I will never ever read salah in my life. A person took a qasam, I will never read salah in my life. And then he went and read one rakat. We'll say you became Hanis. You became guilty of violating your oath. What we'll say? You became guilty of violating your oath. Sheikh, you can put it right on top even. You can put it right on top. We'll say you became guilty of violating your oath. So that shows you flat, even flat. We'll say you became guilty of violating your oath. So that shows you that reading one rakat with one sajda will make him hanif. We'll make him hanif. We say you are guilty of violating your oath. So to show you it is a salah. That means he has entered another salah before completing the farz. He's entered into another salah, right? حتى يحنث بها في يمينه لا يصلي, right? وتحولت صلاته نفلا عند أبي حنيفة, and his salah will change into a nafal according to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala. Why will it change into a nafil? Because I told you, if you never completed the farz, you never completed the farz and you jumped into a nafal. You never completed a farz and you jumped into a nafal. So the whole farz will change into a nafal, got contaminated, so to say. وتحول صلاة نفلا عند أبي حنيفة وأبي يوسف رحمه الله خلافا لمحمد على ما مر. But this is called to Imam Muhammad because remember Imam Muhammad said something. He said that, remember he told you the takbir tahrima doesn't become batil, etc., etc., right? Okay, read the next, another one, Ibarat. You got فيضم إليها ركعة سادسا. So remember this masla also applies to maybe even a lady, whatever, reading salat by the house. You're doing her farz and she forgot to sit in the tashahud and she went for a fifth rakat. So what must you do now? Make another rakat, a sixth rakat, and then all six will become nafil and it will be written in your register that you made six rakats nafil salat. You made six rakat nafil salat and you will get the reward of six rakat nafil salat, inshallah. So فيضم إليها ركعة سادسة, right? But say for instance, وَلَوْ لَمْ يَضُمَّ لَا شَيْءَ عَلَيْهَا. If he never joined the six rakat, he just came down and he made the shahud, whatever, or he abandoned the salah there and then, you say there's nothing, it's not necessary for him to go and read a six rakat or make six rakat qadha, everything. Why? Because لَا شَيْءَ لِأَنَّهُ مَظْنُونٌ. Because he was under the impression, right? He was under the impression, it was not intentional. It was not intentional that he wanted to do. He went and he read the fifth rakat. It was unintentional. You see what I'm saying? It was unintentional, so you will not be penalized that you have to make qadha of the sixth rakat, or you have to do another six rakats or whatever. You understood? Carry on.
ثم إنما يبطل فرضه بوضع الجبهة عند أبي يوسف رحمه الله لأنه سجود كامل.
Right. So when will we say he done the sixth rakat, right? So yeah, ثم إنما يبطل فرضه بوضع الجبهة عند أبي يوسف رحمه الله. Imam Yusuf, the moment his forehead touches the ground, the moment his forehead touches the ground, we will say what? The sixth rakat, the fifth rakat is done. The sajda is done, right? ثم إنما يبطل فرضه بوضع الجبهة عند أبي يوسف لأنه سجود كامل. Because sajda means what? Sajda means to put your forehead on the ground, and he's put his forehead on the ground, right? And Imam Muhammad says sajda will be done when he raises his head. So you'll ask yourself the question, what's the difference? He is going to raise his head. The difference will come like this. Look here. If he put his head down and he made hadass, so then according to Imam Abu Yusuf, he made the sajda because the hadass came after the sajda was done. According to Muhammad, sajda is only completed when he raised his head. It means the sajda is not completed because he made hadass before that. Because he made hadass before that. Right? ثم إنما يبطل فرضه بوضع الجبهة عند أبي يوسف لأنه سجود كامل وإن محمد برفعه. But Imam Muhammad برفعه when he raised it لأن تمام الشيء بآخره. Because, and this is the reasoning and the rationale and the thinking of Imam Abu Yusuf, what was it, Muhammad. Say, look here, something is only complete when you do the last part of it. You only say something is complete when you do the last part of it. Yeah, this person never do the last part of the sajda. Yeah, this person, he never do the last part of the sajda. Before the sajda was completed, what he done? He raised his head. Before the sajda was completed, what he done? So that's though he never makes sajda. You understood? You following? So if though he never makes sajda, as though he never do the fifth rakat, and if he never do the fifth rakat, as though he never contaminated his 4 rakat with enough in salah. You understood it? لأن تمام الشيء بآخره وهو الرفع, right? ولم يصح ما الحدث, right? So in other words, the fifth rakat, the sajda of the fifth rakat, or the fifth rakat itself, etc., is not done with hadath, right?
أما في الخلاف يظهر فيما إذا سبقه الحدث في السجود لنا عند محمد رحمه الله خلافا لأبي يوسف رحمه الله.
Right. So I told you, I already explained to this. In your mind, you will think, what is the purpose of saying no only when you raise your head and when you put your head down? I tell you that if a person in his sajda, his wudu broke involuntarily or whatever, or his wudu broke, then there, according to Imam, according to Hazrat Imam Abu Yusuf, we'll say the sajda is done and the fifth rakat has been done, so the namaz is contaminated. According to Imam Muhammad, it's not done because something is completed with the last part, right? So that the benefit of the difference of opinion تظهر, it manifests itself فيما إذا سبق الحدث في السجود, in where the hadath takes place in sajda, right? Bana in the Muhammad rahimahullah لخلافا ibn Yusuf. So according to Imam Muhammad, which he said he can make wudu and he can come back, right? And he can make bina, right? He can complete the 6 rakat, and what will happen? Because he can complete the 6 rakat and he will have 6 rakat as a nafal salah, because we said the sajda is not yet done completely, right? Because it only happens once you lift your head from the sajda. Okay, we stop there. We'll continue tomorrow, inshallah.